Welcome in, everybody, to the Lusty Lounge. I am your host, Buse, with my co host, Opie Suna.
Hello.
And today we have our wonderful guest, Fibilis. Am I saying that right?
Honestly, it's Fibilis, Fibby, however you want to say it.
I was going to say, if it's alright with you, I'm going to call you Fib for our little show here.
Yeah, that's totally fine. Like honestly, as long as it sounds somewhat like my fucking name, I don't really care.
As long as we link to your Twitter and make sure everybody knows where to find you, right?
Exactly, as long as I get that clout, you know what I mean?
So,
Oh,
would you like to
sorry, we ain't
introduce
got none of
yourself?
that.
Yeah. I am Fibilis. I am an artist based mainly on a dying platform known as X, or I'm not gonna call it X. I'll just call it Twitter.
We
Um,
all do. No.
Yeah, I draw lots of very exaggerated content. People seem to enjoy it, which is nice. Um, that's pretty much the majority of what I do online. And I'm so sorry. I should have had cue cards.
So, you were an artist, obviously.
Hmm.
Is that your day job, or is this something you do on the side for a
So
little bit of side money?
this is just something I've been doing on the side for going on 7, 8 years now. Um,
Yeah.
and it started off mainly as just like I grew discontent with the porn I had preference in, and so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna learn how to draw and make some of it myself. I mean, obviously that wasn't like the only reason I learned how to draw, but it was a huge motivating factor. Um, and ultimately, from that natural progression over the years, you sort of just improve. And for some reason, seem to really enjoy it. I'm coming up on 100,000 followers, hopefully by the end of this year. Um, got a lot of people who enjoy my work, a lot of people who say they look up to me, which is mind-boggling sometimes.
Shockingly, you're not the first person to tell us that you weren't content with what you were seeing, so you went out and did it yourself.
Yeah, because it's like, how often you wish to have just like the most vanilla tastes, uh, and oftentimes, I guess that's not the case. For the people who end up becoming someone like myself who would just end up drawing their own unique thing, because a lot of it is a matter of, you know I have more niche interests, more niche preferences, that I am sometimes, and I'm aware of it. I'm sometimes very annoyingly vocal about it, but that has stayed a motivating factor for drawing what I draw.
So you said you have specific taste. How specific are we talking?
So when it comes to futanari, which is what I mainly draw these days, um, it's kind of hard to put into words. Uh, Most artists lean more towards like if a girl is drawn with a penis, it's they're going to automatically lean towards like, oh, I'm gonna fuck another woman, or it, like because that's the overwhelming majority of the content that you'll see that fits under that genre, and that's just not something I'm personally interested in. Because I'm pansexual, or I mean, I don't know. I commonly refer to myself as bisexual, but I guess pansexual is the more fitting word.
Fan by attracted to all.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer feminine form. And I also prefer male form, but I think my favorite mix would be feminine body with the dick. You know what I mean? But I also don't want that to turn someone who has that feminine form into a commonly male stereotype in sexual situations. I find that oversaturated and I find it boring. And not to say that isn't the case all of the time with pornographic content in that genre, but a lot of the time, most of the time, I think that's what it basically is. A dick on a woman just turns them uber masculine or something like that. Um, Not a fan. I don't hate it. I just don't prefer it, and I'd like the characters and the OCs that I draw to, despite their very large endowments, I prefer them to stay very feminine for the most part. You know, stay on the receiving end of things, just how I prefer it.
What do you mean uber masculine?
Well, I'm sure. I mean, we're all porn enjoyers here, right? You'll have.
Yeah,
Are we? I'm shocked. The host
I
of
know
the
it's
Lusty
crazy,
Lounge.
isn't it, man? The whole
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure you've seen content alluding to you know, anytime there is a cock on a woman, they're gonna be, more often than not, they're gonna be wanting to breed or, put their seed into someone else, impregnate,
Be
Uh,
the top, be dominant.
yeah, exactly.
um,
Now that's becoming
mm,
less, the majority as of late, but because more people are sort of, varying the content. But I'm still seeing it as a huge majority, at least from what I'm seeing. I'm sorry if I'm not elaborating my point super well.
Oh,
I'm
you're
just
fine.
uh,
where are you looking? Let's
where
start there.
where am I looking?
Yeah.
Uh, I browse various gurus. I mean, I browse Twitter. I know hundreds of artists. I mean, like any spot where there's going to be, to my assumption, the most porn being posted, I'm going to be looking there. Rule 34, Jail Guru, Senkaku Complex. I don't even know if I'm saying that correctly.
I hate that site ever since they went super pay to win, but
I Yeah, I don't browse it as much either anymore. And then they've just been like promoting a bunch of AI content, which fucking sucks. Um,
yeah, we'll talk about that later.
yeah, of course.
I am in the minority here because the only real porn on Twitter I look at is when I'm on our account. That's kind of it now.
Yeah,
That or if I'm reading a dojin, but that's like a whole different worldview on Futanari, so
yeah,
my
absolutely.
perspective is very skewed.
Right, and like that's respectable. It's a matter of I understand that that what is most popular for a reason.
Yeah,
Um, and I am sometimes maybe I garner a bit of controversy by being outspoken about my own personal tastes, and over the years that has given me a bit of personal, not personal, but like given me a bit of backlash, not a lot, but a bit of of saying this or that about what I don't like or what I don't prefer, and over the years I've just come to realize like people are gonna like what they like. I'm gonna like what I like. I may not like what the people like. Um, but if people like what I draw, then I guess it's a win-win for everybody ultimately. As long as people aren't
yeah.
getting caught up in the small things, getting caught up on stuff they don't like, you know, because that's not a way to live life. That's not just dwelling on things that you hate.
Hell yeah.
I'm just, these days I'm trying to expand my territories. I'm trying to do more animating. I'm trying to see about maybe getting into comic panel format. Um,
Ooh.
I was just about to ask, what is your most common way of making art?
so I mean, obviously, it's mainly just going to be still pics, but um, standard solo. I tend to try not to spend a tremendous amount of time on a piece because I find that burnout comes pretty quickly. After about the like 16, 18-hour mark, if I'm like drawing a picture that I want to fully truly polish. Um, so it's a matter of mainly just doing something that I find fascinating and or hot or sexy in the moment. Usually, I draw by inspirational spark, and I think I've said this multiple times publicly. It's not a great work ethic, but it's something I'm trying to work more off of so that I can turn inspirational spark into less a fleeting thing and more something I can do on a consistent basis.
Okay, that leads me into a question. This is going to sound a little aggressive, but I don't mean to come off as aggressive.
Okay.
Is that why you don't do commissions?
Yes, actually, and I've been very upfront about this. Uh, I, I again, I don't have a great work ethic with art because a lot of it is based off of like I find this idea hot or I find this idea fun, so I want to draw it. Once it becomes
Okay.
a matter of hey, I'm gonna pay you, draw this for me, especially with that financial obligation, there is a tremendous amount of pressure that is brought forth because now it's I am not going out of my way to draw this. I am being, you know, paid for this. This I am now providing a service. And in the past, I have done a couple commissions in the past over the years, and they've turned out okay. But then I've done a couple of other or I've attempted a couple of commissions that just they have fallen through because I can't, make a produce a result in what I believe to be a respectable time frame. Far from it, as a matter of fact.
Falling through
Hmm,
on your
okay.
side, as in like you weren't happy with it, or falling through on the client side?
Fallen through on my side in the sense that like it's going to take a very long time for more often than not for me to draw what they wish to draw, and again and that's also a matter of there's pressure. I aim to please. I am unfortunately a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to my art. So if I'm drawing for someone, especially if they're paying me, there's also a matter of I want to make sure that they are fully pleased with this. You know, they spent their hard-earned cash for me to provide a drawing of for them. So it has to be it has to be something that they can be happy with. And part of that is doubly surmounted by the fact that in the past I've drawn for people and they have very clearly not been satisfied, and that's a bit of a crushing feeling. So I want to do my best to avoid that if I am especially being paid to do it.
I was just about to ask, have the clients shown that they weren't happy with your work, or was it more on just your side? But sounds like you did that.
Yeah, like I haven't had any commissions that I mean, again, I can count on two hands where I've done commissions, like just in general. But I've drawn like art for people. I've drawn fan art. I've drawn trades where I show them what I've drawn, and they're like, "Oh yeah, thanks." And it's like like they're not like outwardly they don't like it, but you can tell pretty easily, even in text sometimes, how they change based off of their reaction to what you draw, especially if you've had the chance to talk to them more considerably beforehand, closer friends or mutuals or whatnot. Um, and again, it's not a good feeling to have because then you feel like, oh shit, what did I do wrong? Maybe I'm just not good enough.
No, I feel that, but I feel like for a trade, they kind of know what they're getting themselves into. So if they're
Yeah,
disappointed, that's on them.
right, right. I
But
never
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and that's valid. I never like to have an opinion of, someone is always at my mercy. Perhaps that's a bit too I don't know, beta. That that's a weird word to describe it, but yeah, I never want to have give people the impression that they are always at my mercy for a transaction or anything where one could potentially owe the other. So if they don't like what I've drawn, my immediate thought is, beyond being upset, is, oh, how can I fix this? Like, how can I make this better for you? Um,
Okay.
Maybe not the most good trait to have. I don't know. It really depends on the context. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's why it's not often a viable thing for me.
No, I get that. It's super hard to continue it all the time.
Yeah.
So I have two questions that I ask every artist that bothers to give me the time of day.
Okay.
How the fuck does color work?
You know, it's funny you say that because, like with my art in general, I kind of just eyeball shit. So I know basic color theory, but beyond that, it's a matter of just like, does this look good enough to my eyes? I know a couple people, and I've known a couple people that are hardcore gung ho about color theory, and oftentimes it works out spectacularly for them. There was an artist I knew a while back. His name is Fury, with a PH. It was crazy. He went by Cauldroneer at the time. He was a furry artist, and color theory was one of his biggest things. And he reached a point where he told me that he wasn't doing color pieces anymore because it was just too frustrating for him to get the color right. He was too much of a perfectionist because, and as he described it, there's only a certain set number of values for, on the monochrome scale from black to white, but there are
Mm-hmm.
millions upon millions of color combinations, and that is just too difficult, too time consuming to deal with, to get a result that is consistently, uh, worthwhile. So he said, and I understood it. I'm not going to stop doing color anytime soon, but I also am not nearly to that level of perfectionism when it comes to like how I want my colors to be perfect. As long as it looks good to me, that's fine. Like at the time, if it looks good, if others would enjoy it, then I'm good with it. Maybe again, not the best mindset to have if you want to always be improving as an artist. Um, but I've gotten this far with just natural progression without, formally training myself, and I'm sure I can continue to go further.
Fair. As someone who does basic color grading, I'm just like, yep, this is good enough for other people to see, so it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, yeah, this looks good. This works out. This makes sense. So all the people get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So my other question is, were you drawing anime bullshit in high school like everyone else?
Yeah. Okay. So I started off in an interesting way. I was doing free-handed mastery drawings in high school, and that's how I started. I didn't start out doing original stuff.
Freehand what?
Like mastery drawings in the sense of you'll take an image, right? And in my case, I was drawing Skullgirl's character sprite screenshots, and I was redrawing them with a shitty little mechanical pencil on a sketchbook paper, and
Okay.
I would spend hours in my bedroom doing that. Um, and I I have them somewhere still. I don't know. Maybe I can share them
I'm gonna
later.
pause you right there.
Yeah,
Do you play Skullgirls?
I used to. I used to, yeah. Haven't been in a while,
Okay,
but
who'd you used to main?
uh, I wanted to main Squiggly because I liked her the most, but Valentine ended up being my main.
All
I
right.
I prefer quick characters, and Squiggly was the opposite of that. She's like a tank.
Yeah. All
Yeah,
right. Well, you should definitely check out the final season when we get Black Dahlia.
yeah. You know what? Like I said, I haven't played it in a couple years, man. I need to re-download it, but man, I'm fucking. I got so much to play right now. I'm playing Infinite Wealth.
Same.
Stardew Valley just came out with a new update. Like the Saboteur is now on Steam, which was like one of my favorite games in the PS3 era. So I'm playing that now too. It's like, and then I got the art. Then I got all the. It's like, oh, it's just a lot.
Life do be hard. I
Life
get
do
it.
be hard. Too many video games to play.
Yeah. 'Cause I went from Persona 3 to Final Fantasy 7, and Unicorn Overlord is sitting behind me, and I'm like, I can't play you yet.
Yeah, yeah, it's the word, and it's like especially bad because
And fucking Dragon's Dogma 2 came out yesterday, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, although I hear some not so good things about those microtransactions. I hear there's a lot.
I mean, just be good at the game and it won't matter.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, could be pay to win, or you could just be
Shit,
good.
Rise of the Ronin also came out yesterday.
What also came out?
Rise of the Ronin.
Oh shit, I don't know nothing about that game.
What did my cousin say? Ghost of Tsushima meets Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh shit.
Oh
That
crap!
sounds-
Maybe I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
I will ask him when he's awake. So I'm pretty sure he's trying to sleep, and I'm like, not my problem.
Right on. Yeah, we are doing this at well, pretty fucking early in the morning. Yeah. Yeah, but
All right, so back to horny drawings.
yeah,
How big is too big of a dick to draw for you?
bigger than the person. I think that's when I draw the line. And that sounds fucking crazy. I know, right? But
Not really.
It's different ways of sounding crazy for different people.
yeah, like to any unacquainted listeners, the variant of big that I draw is commonly referred to as hyper, which is it if you can imagine a dick that goes into the multiple foot territory. That's right around the region that I usually draw it. Very very unrealistic, but hey, I find it fun, you know. But yeah, bigger than the person. That's when it's sort of just like if there's more dick than person, then it's like you know, it begins to become a little less appealing to me, you know, and very quickly goes downhill from there.
What about the smallest dick you've ever drawn?
I actually did a fan art for a friend recently where it's the smallest I've drawn in quite some time, and it was I don't know I want to say 8 9 inches, which is still realistically pretty fucking big, but by comparison to what I usually draw, pretty tiny, you know.
By
That's
comparison to every other hentai pack in the world.
No,
yeah,
it's average.
yeah. I mean, it's tiny compared to what I draw in you know, realistic scenarios, big to average, you know. And they enjoyed it. I was happy with it. I intend to actually vary the way I draw a little bit more in terms of size. So who knows? Maybe in the future I'll be drawing sizes maybe a little bit more realistic. You know, more often. Not that it'll be the mainstay. I'll always enjoy hyper. You know, variety is the spice of life. They say.
Yeah, I'm trying to wake up all the way.
So aside from Fuda, what else do you like to draw?
Uh, you know, it's funny. I got a binary brain when it comes to stuff. So if it's not like Buddha, it's either yaoi or it's yuri. Honestly, anything that's not just like standard hetero content, which I don't know. I've always found it boring. You know,
It
like
is definitely the most plentiful. So
yeah, and you know, I get it. Like sex for the purpose of reproduction. You know, that's not what I it's not what I go online to view hentai for personally. I want the spicy shit. You know, I want the jalapeno peppers.
how's
All right. So question.
Yep.
Because I do follow another Funari artist, but she is mostly focused on Yuri incest Funari, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
That's different.
Who's the artist?
Oh god, phone is on bed. Use brain. Um, Norza.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very very fluffy, very fluffy. I guess would be the best way I personally would describe their art. Very vanilla. You know, it's definitely like so
That's crazy to me.
barring the incest, which is obviously a
I
very
was gonna say
I
we got
was gonna
Yuri
say there's
incest.
one thing in there that didn't sound very vanilla.
yeah.
What do you mean?
Kind of.
The Yuri incest doesn't sound vanilla to you?
I wouldn't say that the content is vanilla, but the style, I don't know. I have a weird brain when it comes to classifying art and artists, and their style I would best describe as just a vanilla style. I don't
That's
know.
fair. She's going through it, and I'm like, just go hug your girlfriend. I can't help you, kid.
Yeah. No, but they're also a very talented artist and stuff. So
I'm
I respect their work.
honestly same. I'm honestly more surprised you knew who I was after I struggled to remember. You were just like, oh yeah, I knew who that is. I'm like, what? Huh? What?
Yeah.
Is
Well,
Twitter really that small?
I have been, fellas, I've been gooning for like 8 fucking years straight. I know so many artists, it's unbelievable. um, it's just, and it's not healthy. I understand, but from
Debatable.
as a result of what I've been doing for almost 8 years, I know or at least I can recognize a lot of artists. Um, I like to keep my following circle relatively contained, mostly to mutuals on Twitter. But
Okay.
I look at and I respect the work of so many more than that. You know, like I recognize artists that come, artists that go. I think it's valuable knowledge as an artist within this community to know the people around you. You know.
I get that. We need to work on stuff like that, but I don't know who else talks about horny bullshit. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh, who's willing to do it openly at least?
Uh, yeah. Well, I mean, I will admit, this will be probably one of the first times I've talked at length vocally outside of private group chats about the nature of this type of content. Um, so in a way, I mean, that really just proves your point right there. Considering I've been doing this long, and this is one of the first times I've been vocally, going at length about the nature of the content I draw and the nature of the content around me. And it just goes to show just it's a very niche community, a very niche demographic of individuals.
A lot of folks like to
I
keep it behind closed. That's for
Yeah.
They do, but I want to marginally disagree. I feel like the drawn stuff is sort of niche, but like when I look at it like a real life person and see they have hundreds of thousands of followers, I'm like, yeah, so porn isn't really that closed off as everyone likes to think. I'm like, that's crazy.
Well, yeah, I can agree with you there. It's it's like nobody will ever get rid of porn. Porn will always be a withstanding commodity throughout, I think throughout history. I mean, you got pornographic, crude drawings of side profiles of silhouette caveman women, carved, etched into cave walls. Like people are always gonna be horny. They're always going to want to play out their fantasies, be it in physical, visual, in real life, or drawn, or whatever. I think we just live in a modern society where it's looked down upon, but I think in a lot of ways it's also very much respected as a mainstay, and it will always be a mainstay.
I definitely think being sexual is that door's starting to open and
Yeah,
be more accepted publicly. But
yeah. I mean,
drawn stuff is definitely still at the back of that closet, being
yeah,
pushed into the corner. I don't know.
yeah. It's still it's still in the classroom, but it's in the closet. Hopefully, as time goes on, the doors open just a little bit. And it's also important that everyone who partakes in this particular drawn, pornographic community that they have self awareness because the line can be so easily broken between realistic context and what is fantastical and what is fictional, what is not possible. Um, when it comes to hentai and drawn content, drawn pornography, it's it's important that people understand and are cognizant that like, hey, this is still, I mean, this doesn't work in reality. Like, and that's something I constantly remind myself to because I draw fantastic content, stuff that is very unrealistic, um, that I keep my head in the game that I still draw that line between this works out and this doesn't. What I draw does not really work out in a realistic setting.
So you are not so far gone into the gooning that you would think everything you draw is realistic and could happen.
It sounds insane when I say that I'm not, but you'll see some people out there that disagree. Some people who have lost themselves in the sauce.
Oh
Who
yeah, I've definitely run into a few people who have openly admitted that their tastes have gone so deep that they're not sure realistic stuff will ever do it for them again.
Yeah, and that's the
And I'm
crazy
just
thing to
like, that's a little kind of terrifying.
me. Yeah, I've had some trans friends of mine. Uh, they've had experiences where they'll have these terminally online brain dead gooners, call them futas, and it's like, first of all, that's not even the right word. But and now it's become that word in general has become a controversial topic on places like Twitter because people are so far removed from reality. They're so porn brained that they are calling real people that, which is just insane to me. It's fucking ridiculous. And when I first heard about that, it was hard for me to wrap my head around. But you know, you dip your toes a little too far into the marsh swamp, and you get to see the people at the bottom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I was just about to ask you about that if you had considered yourself too far gone uh, into the humor swamp that you can't come back. So,
Yeah. I
sounds
mean,
like you still have at least a line to the shallow.
yeah. I uh I always want to keep that line. So if I ever feel like I might be slip a little too far into those proverbial marsh waters, then I try and dip myself out of it. If I take a break, or say I just abstain from doing art for a little bit, which I will sometimes, or I abstain from Twitter, which if I follow mostly porn art accounts, or art mutuals, then that becomes mostly what it is. So abstaining from Twitter usually helps as well.
Totally true.
Everyone needs a mental break sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. And outside of porn browsing habits, it's just social media in general is just been it's always been bad for the brain, but like lately, oh my god, it's a fucking nightmare, man.
Oh yeah, everything since COVID has gone extreme.
Yeah, I'm just fucking pissed that among a plethora of things to be pissed at, I'm pissed at Musk for taking over this site in a fucking ego trip and flushing it down the goddamn drain. Like it's never been good, but now it's worse than it's ever been, and I'll never forgive him.
Honestly, like, how'd you make it worse?
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna get rid of all the bots. I had maybe once every 3 to 4 months prior to Musk's takeover a bot interaction, and now
Wait, you
it's
mean
it.
all those Lincoln bios aren't real people?
Yeah, now it's a daily occurrence. Like as soon as this motherfucker took over, he is a man baby is the best way I think that I and a lot of other people I'm sure would describe him. And the shit on his Twitter, all the extremism, like he promotes that shit. I can't stand it. Like extremism has a new home, and it's Twitter. Or
They
Yeah.
always say that that people who play sports should stick to what they know and just keep playing sports. He
yeah,
definitely should have kept what he knew and just kept doing his engineering stuff because everybody was in love with the not a flamethrower, his rocket ships and stuff.
yeah. Well, and that's
And then
fucking
he was like,
insane, right?
"Well, I know better. I'll buy Twitter."
Yeah, like I don't really know what happened, and you know what? I my theory is that it was when Grimes divorced him, but everyone like fucking loved the guy. I was like, wow,
I
this
think it
guy's
was a little bit
cool.
before that.
Yeah, maybe a little bit before that. I think maybe Grimes divorcing him was a result of
That was
his.
definitely probably one of the like final dominoes.
Yeah, maybe a result of his the beginning of his downturn. But I mean, I remember into my teenhood, I'd hear things about how, "Oh, this guy, he's making electric cars the mainstay. He's sending fucking spaceships into orbit. Like He's a genius. He's a blah blah blah. Like now I realize most of that's bullshit, but also more than that, like how wrong we
So
were, collectively as people about someone like that. We just realize he's just another fucking brain dead, silver spoon fed, egomaniac, uh, extremist billionaire.
All in all, I think he probably knows his way around engineering. He probably just ended up getting followed by too many yes men and being told he's super smart too many times.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Nobody to keep him in check.
you'll hear reports about people who worked at like Tesla, or SpaceX, and that's pretty much what I hear is the case. Is that he's just surrounded by yes men, and that if you're not a yes man, you get the boot.
Sounds about right.
Yeah,
okay, so like I'm not gonna disagree with what y'all said, but what y'all said is very much he is the face of all of his companies. He's not actually doing all the engineering and shit. His team is, and they just make him promote the product because he's got the brand recognition. So that's why back in the day, he would do the not a flamethrower, or he would be the person presenting the rocket. And I'm like,
right.
you
He's
didn't
definitely
do
the
any of
idea
this.
man.
This is just your name.
Yeah,
I know how this game's played.
like, and that's the thing, right? Like, he is the face, but at the same time, there is some level of power in the sense that he can boot and he can take on board those who are his yes men, like Pootsie was saying earlier. Uh, People who agree with his ideas rather than people who can give him critique and say, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea, or hey, maybe consider this instead. I feel like that's a very commonplace thing, and with a lot of people in power these days, especially. Um, People who just want people to agree with them rather than those who want to make something better.
Yeah, why challenge me? I know I'm right. And it's like, but you're not. And it's like, okay, well, you don't have a job anymore, and I do.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I hear that's all too commonplace with Musk, with shit. I mean, we're not going to go too much into the full-on political territory, but Trump. I hear that's the case too. I don't know. All I know is what I hear.
yeah.
All right. So pull us slightly back on topic.
Yeah,
Earlier you mentioned your bi pan, whatever you want to call it, when you like everything and everyone.
yeah.
Do you have a partner currently, or
No, I've
anything
had
of that sort?
a somewhat of a relationship, briefly, with a girl who turned out to be asexual, and then I've had a couple long distance
Same,
relationships.
brother.
Yeah,
Same.
yeah. It was fine. I haven't talked to her in a bit. I should talk to her, but we ended on good terms, and since
Not same.
yeah, it is what it is. I've had some long distance relationships since then, but nothing cemented, and definitely not right now.
Have any of your previous partners known about this side of yourself that
No,
you draw Huda and not safe for work art?
no. So my family knows about it.
Oh.
Yeah, my family.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. My family is full aware of what I draw, but no, my family is accepting. Uh, they if anything, they're amazed by the following I've amassed more than anything else.
How did you develop your art style?
I've taken inspiration from a number of artists throughout the years. The inspiration comes and it goes. Uh, I'll find myself very much interested in a certain artist or a certain number of artists at this time, and at another time that might fall off. And with that inspiration comes, you know, stylistic influence. And I'll be the first to admit, like, I will just, like, I'll take notes of anatomy, I'll take notes from proportion, line style, faces, colors from the artists I look at. Withstanding, some of my main inspirations are one of my good friends, Bendicris. Um, he draws very, very big butts, and they're great. Um, him and I have been doing this. He's been doing this longer than I have, but we've both been doing this for quite some time. He's been a good friend of mine for a while. Um, Starry Crow has been a long standing inspiration for me. He's that TF2 YouTuber who also draws a lot of the similar content that I draw. Just hyper futanari content. Um, I've taken inspiration from folks like there's an artist named Neix, very good. James AB has I've been taking a lot of notes from their rendering, their colors, the designs
Wait,
on the
wait,
character.
wait.
Yep.
I've heard rendering in the art space. I have no idea what it means because I only do video rendering. So what does that mean?
So to render a piece is to give it the lights and give it the shadows, give it all the fun stuff. Like I guess that would be the best, easiest way to describe it. So if you'll have like a sketch, and then you'll refine the sketch. You'll give it line art, then you'll give it like flat color, which is just the colors where it needs to be. And then rendering is highlights and shadows and rim lighting, bounce lighting.
It
Uh,
helps with all the finishing touches.
yeah, exactly. So that's basically probably one of the final touches in the drawing process. Um, but back to artists that inspire me. Um, I've had inspirations from the past that still, still I will enjoy, and I will take notes from, but just maybe not so close. It's usually going to be the artist that I'm fawning over, the artist I'm fanboying after, the stuff that makes my brain go goo goo gaga the biggest. Oh, Demimond is also another great example of an artist that I've been looking at a lot for stylistic influence.
I do have a question about artists you follow or look
Yeah.
at. When looking at your art, I get kind of reminded, personally at least, of the artist Ludua, if I'm saying that even closely correctly. Have you ever
I've
heard
had
of them?
some. Yeah, no, I've been back. It's been sort of past a transient. I've been taking interest in their stuff. It's funny you mention that because they are not an artist that I reference directly anyway, but I have enjoyed their content.
Okay.
Um,
I was just curious because I looked at it and I was like, oh, this kind of looks like there's.
yeah, a lot of people have actually made that comparison as well, and I don't find it unflattering because I enjoy their work, and in fact I find that to be a compliment because they're
Okay,
they're
good. I
an
was I
Okay,
was
that
really
answered my
hoping you
next
would not
question.
take that. In.
yeah, no, they're an exceptionally talented artist, and as a matter of fact, maybe in the future I'd be looking to expand the lore and in the way I present a narrative, much in the way they do, in sort of like a comic style slideshow format. I think it's a great way to present a story, to present a situation. So
Yeah,
if I were to expand in the future into that, something like it'd probably be like the way Ludue does it. Yeah.
that is a very good idea to take. I feel like not a lot of people do it how they do it.
Yeah.
It's mostly like actual comic panels, and I'm like, I am too dumb to figure out how to make that go. So
Yeah. Yeah.
this is easier to this is also easier to digest.
Yeah, it's easier to digest. It oftentimes it goes at a pace that you can prefer, and they're full pieces every panel. Uh,
And it definitely helps with the implied motion.
yeah.
Yes.
Um, to draw traditional, like say like Daojin style comic format, that's been something that I've always looked at uh very much in a way of like I would love to do that, but I don't know how the fuck they format that. you know, they can.
It's just manga, but porn,
Yeah,
and sometimes not porn.
sometimes not porn, sometimes porn. I don't know. I guess I think it's an art in and of itself is a way to comprehensively, cohesively, fit what they do onto panels, sometimes overlapping panels, character portraits over side reaction shots. Like it works out, and I don't know how to do it. I'd
Paneling
probably
is
Um,
definitely a whole skill upon itself.
yeah, it's one.
I I would say if you do want to like study it, I am Pews don't get mad. I would recommend looking at Dragon Ball Z, One Punch Man, and Chainsaw Man because
Yeah,
they all do their paneling very, very well.
yeah. I mean, I I wouldn't get mad at something like that, but you know.
Oh, I
What
just
up?
don't
Pews
like
doesn't like
Chainsaw
Chainsaw
Man.
Man.
Oh,
To
really?
be fair, I don't. To be fair, I just don't like Chainsaw Man's story. I like the art. I like the storytelling.
Yeah,
I just don't like the story.
that's understandable. I've been people have been suggesting that I draw some Chainsaw Man characters for a while now, but I don't know. I saw a spoiler of the show regarding, and it's like I don't really want to draw her anymore because I saw what happened to her. I don't even know this.
To be
Yeah,
Understandable.
I don't.
to be fair, I could see all of those characters being fooded and
Yeah,
fucked.
honestly, they oftentimes are. To be honest, like I see a lot of art, a very popular IP for that kind of stuff. Um,
Ooh, you know what? Let's talk about that. So when you're deciding to draw characters, how what makes you go, I want to draw this one?
I wish I could verbalize that because I don't know. Sometimes a character just fucking clicks with me. Oftentimes, I've tracked down a couple of traits that I tend to prefer more often than not. Freckles. I love freckles. I love freckles. Freckles on bitches. You know what I mean? Um, I like blonde
That's
hair.
such a statement.
Yeah. Blonde hair, red hair, orange hair. Uh, that kind of just is like short hair. I like short hair a lot. Uh, you give me a character with a couple, you just maybe more than one of those traits, and more often than not, you're gonna make me go fucking goo goo gaga over that shit. You know what I mean? Um,
So like my only counterpoint to what you said is, wow, this was away. I did scroll through your media. I see Shantae and I'm like, oh, I love Shantae. I hope we get that uh sixth game here soon that they kept saying they'd bring us, but gotta play on the GBA first. I'm
yeah,
like, no, you don't. All right.
right.
Shantae has super fucking long hair
Well,
and no freckles.
yeah, that's the crazy thing is that like those are some traits that the traits that I just mentioned are traits that I do just inherently like in a character, but it's not exclusive. Like I'm not just gonna draw characters that have those traits. Uh, if I don't know, sometimes, like I said, a design just clicks with me, um,
Okay.
and I'll consume the media, but then I'll also be drawing them in the way I want to draw them. You know?
So how do you feel about Pokemon then? Because they've got a fuck ton of designs and characters.
Yeah, they do. Um, that's a lot a material one can work with, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Uh, I like enjoying the content. There's a lot of Pokemon content I do enjoy, and much like furry content, like I'll enjoy it, but oftentimes it's not gonna be enough for me to draw it. And I say that,
Okay.
but I have drawn it a couple times in the past, much like I have drawn a couple of like anthro pieces in the past. Like it's less like I want this to be something I draw as a mainstay, and more like you know I can enjoy this. It's not exactly my note, but I'll enjoy it. Like I respect it and I enjoy it.
It helps strengthen your art muscles, so we can go with that.
Yeah, I guess that works. Yeah.
How much regular porn do you watch?
Oh, it's honestly these days, or at least it varies, right? Because it's all just depending on the mood. Like sometimes I'll go almost exclusively like look at in real life content, Um, but on average, 65 hentai to 35% in real life. Sometimes
Man, your ratio's way better than mine.
yeah, Like, again, though, it varies. Sometimes I'll exclusively look at fucking hentai for like a month straight, and then sometimes I'll just need a breather from 2D content, and I'll want to, you know, you take a ride on the realistic side for a change.
I get
Yeah, that
that.
sounds totally fair.
Yeah.
What are some other, like, aside from Fuda, what else are you into?
Um,
Fetish and kink wise, and all forms of whatever you want to call it.
futa is one of the main things that I can be into. Um, that I gotta think about that. So it's futa is like one of the main fundamental foundations, yaoi or yuri, which are like the biggest genres that I'll be into or I'll draw. And then from that, there's going to be subgenre kinks that can play into that. Uh, man? I'm drawing a blank. Uh, hyper obviously is very obviously a component of that. Um, I'm a sucker for believe it or not romance, but also on the opposite end of that spectrum, just like slut kink. You know what I mean? Of just
I
Okay.
like looking at it.
yeah, like characters that are just like complete hoe bags, and it's like I don't view it in a degrading way. They're just nymphomaniacs, just casual sex with anyone, and that's I find that fun. But
So I get that. It's also fun to look at from a fictional standpoint,
yeah,
but like when it happens in real life, I'm just like, I don't want to catch anything. And condoms suck sometimes.
yeah,
Conundrum.
and it's funny because it's like I think that's one of the main reasons why hentai is so alluring because there's not real life implication, you know. Sexual encounters in real life, well, they're gonna have stuff like STDs, STIs, uh, you know, sexually based injuries, shit like that. Um, Mishaps are bound to happen. Well, they don't need to happen in hentai, right? So
Yeah, I mean that's why they're great escapism.
yeah, exactly.
It's just for me after so much escapism, my brain's like, if this was real, and I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And tying back to what we were talking about earlier, at that point, it's important to just keep a balance, like enjoy the escapism, and it's very enjoyable if you can make it be, but just make sure that your head's in, not sunken so far down deep into those proverbial marsh waters that you can't get out of it, that you can't you know enjoy realistic sexuality anymore.
Don't get stuck in the goon cave.
Exactly.
What?
Don't get trapped in the
Don't
goon
get
cave.
stuck in the goon cave.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Is that not something you've ever heard before?
No.
You get trapped in the goon cave, or yeah, as I like to put it, you get trapped in the goon marsh. In the tar pits of goon.
I like the way you talk, Feb. You and I get each other's language.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Are you also a Midwestern white man?
How could you tell?
You haven't said ope yet, so it was a gamble.
I'll only say ope if you bump into me, but I rest
Yeah,
assured.
that's ope is a
God
very
damn it!
specific.
You really are a Midwestern white man.
Oh yeah, like the ope will come out
You
of me
go ope,
naturally.
gotta squeeze right past you.
Yeah, no, I don't even mean to say ope. I'll just say, ope, no ope, sorry. It's just
Oh, what made you want to try animating?
um so I knew an artist at the time, uh and they're an exceptionally popular artist, because they're super talented. Their name is Hard Degenerate, and they do like a lot of Nintendo princess content. Yeah. Um I knew them for a bit, uh for reasons I won't go into details. We sort of are no longer we're no longer as acquainted anymore, but they were.
I'm sorry.
Oh, shit happens, it's all right. I don't think there's any withstanding animosity. anymore, but we he was my main inspiration at the time to try to attempt to get into more of an animating based format. And animating is difficult. Like I'm not that great at it, but it what I have animated I think has worked out so far. It's just so it's just so time consuming. And he has occasionally given me some tips. Uh, Peculiar or Peku, I don't know how you would describe how you would pronounce his name, but he's also been very helpful. There's an artist by the name of KPDM who has helped me very much. In fact, he's even personally refined some of my animations. Um, I've had a lot of friends who have helped me improve in that way, and my only wish is that I could just find the time to do it more. It's again very time consuming, very time consuming.
So, do you feel like you personally are as fetishized as your art?
That's a good question. A lot of people have shown like a personal level of attraction, uh, and they've expressed that online. Like not a lot, but more than half a dozen, I'd say, over the years have said, like, I actually have a crush on you, which is crazy to me. Um, it's not like super crazy, but it's a little out there. Um, I guess they like the way I tweet. They like the way I present myself online, I guess. Um, and beyond that, like I've also received like you know dick pic DMs on Twitter, like the whole standard affair. Because when I'm presenting my OC as my profile picture, they're going to assume, oh, people who have no reading comprehension at all are going to assume I'm a female or some shit. So, or perhaps they just again they like me, so here's my dick. You don't know me, but so I would say that there is a level of fetishization that I have personally experienced. When I would like there maybe not to be, um,
Understandable.
because in at the end of the day, like I'm just a guy who does this on the side, and I draw the niche fetish content I enjoy. And people, like I said, some people have just flocked to it. I should say,
I get that.
yeah,
I'm just gonna out myself and have saying I have not sent anyone a dick pic that's doing infinitely too much.
yeah,
But I've been like, I wonder what this person's like in real life. They're probably hot. Most artists are genuinely just really fucking hot.
man.
It's not fair.
It isn't fair. Like I don't want to say I'm like goblin level ugly, but I'm probably average. Um, I'm sure I'd look a little bit better if I wanted to present myself better. But I've seen some artists share their, oh, this like artist versus art. That whole art trend. It's like everyone who shows pictures of themselves, they're fucking gorgeous. Like
Yeah, I'm just like, where do y'all come from?
there's an artist you ever heard of Riz Draws?
No.
He draws a lot of he is one of the best artists I've seen that draws pornographic content. Um, he is fucking. He's a. He's just so. He's gorgeous. He's a fucking beautiful man. Like he'll post pictures of himself sometimes, and it's like that guy could be a model. And here he is drawing some of the most hottest shit ever. And he's also that hot in real life. It's like not fair. It's like
It's not
I
fair.
was like genuinely envious when I saw that. I was like, "There's no way you are like a 9.5 out of 10."
See, I kind of thought that way about the voice actor interview. I was like, damn, you're a good looking guy in real life. That's not fair. You can't have a nice voice and be a very attractive.
Some people
I'm
just
not
got
gonna say.
yeah. Some
I gotta be quiet.
some people just got all the luck. But it is what it is. I mean, I don't know. I also understand that personal attraction is subjective. There's somebody for everybody, and what some people may find hot, others may not. There's generally a more widely agreed upon idea of attractiveness, but again, everything is subjective.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're at an amount of time.
Yeah.
You may ask your AI question.
Okay. So, Fib,
Yeah.
thoughts on AI?
I think it would be an exceptional tool if it weren't being so flagrantly abused like it is currently. Um, there was a tweet I read where, you know, a future was imagined in the past that robots could replace mechanical work, leaving humans to think and indulge their creative side freely without the bound change chains of a mechanized workforce society. And what instead is happening is quite the opposite, where all of this creative indulgence and express and sense of self-expression is being replaced by robots instead, leaving workers to just uh, remain in slave labor till the end of days. Now I know that that's a bit of a generalization, but I think it rings a lot of true bells. I think that AI could be world changing in the best of ways, but we're using it to replace artists or voice actors or it, it it's removing passion from art in my opinion. And it could even be like a fantastic tool in assisting with art, but why do that when you can just make money off of it? Um, AI art pages are raking in thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars a month, um, and it's very depressing to see because
I'm not gonna lie. You've given the most. I I use this term very broadly. Middle of the road take for somebody we've asked this question.
yeah, I know a lot of people have a very negative opinions of AI. I think it could be a good thing. It's just it's not a good thing because to for it to be used as a good thing would assume that humans as a whole can behave themselves, and that's not going to happen. Um, people are always,
Yeah.
yeah. Ultimately, we're always going to have to expect the worst of people, and that's, I think, what's happening with AI is they're using it to replace artists. They're using it to replace jobs, uh, valuable jobs, valuable positions, and they're sucking the life out of creativity. When if it were used correctly, in my opinion, assist with the art process, but you know use it in conjunction. Don't replace it. Like I'll be the first to admit, like there have been a couple times where I've just drawn backgrounds because I'm not great at backgrounds, but I've been trying to get better at drawing backgrounds. So I've taken novel AI generations and I've used that. I mean, I haven't put them in my drawings, mind you. I feel like
You've used it more as a stunt
yeah,
than
I've
as an assistant than you have it
yeah,
actually.
basically yeah, direct reference, and it's never been characters because I feel like right now AI generation will all pump out the same overly glossed, Sakimi Chan looking shit. Um,
Yeah. Fucker.
uh, but backgrounds are something that it can do very well also. And if you have unique ideas, unique angles, details that you'd like to maybe get a better visualization of, at least in the way I apply it, it's a great way to do it. But speaking more generally, because AI does have such a tremendous uh, range of use, it's more often than not just being abused for all the wrong reasons, in my opinion. And I worry about what the future will hold for AI and what it will do to the creative industry.
That's a very fair take. Uh, you like I said, you are much more middle of the road, and I use that term very uh broadly. Usually when I bring that up, it's very much hated in I usually have to unfortunately take the opposite side of the road there, and be disliked much more than I wish I should.
Yeah, and I understand that. It's completely understandable that a lot of artists and a lot of people in the creative industry feel threatened. Very understandably so.
Yes, agreed.
It's already started to take over a lot of facets. I mean, I'll hear about professional animators from DreamWorks and Pixar. They're getting fucking laid off because AI has taken their job for a fraction of the cost. And it's like, well, that sucks, but also it's going to suck for all of us too, because no amount of value in art can replace the pain and passion involved in the process. Like, if you have a machine make it, sure, it's going to look nice. Sure, it's going to have all the bells and whistles, but it's just not going to hit right, in my opinion. I don't know. Maybe I'm an outlier like that, but I think that's maybe one of the reasons why you can always tell when something is AI is because you're not set.
Doesn't have that soul.
It doesn't have that human element to it. You can't really sense the passion because what passion does a robot have? None. It's a robot,
Very, very true. Very well put. I did have one last question before we wrap up.
Okay.
It doesn't sound like you monetize your work as much as most other artists do.
Yeah.
At least yet. But have you? I don't know what platforms you post your stuff, but have you seen your stuff or your platforms being taken away at other sites? Because I've heard Gumroad and I believe it's Pixiv, if I remember the right sites.
No,
have
not
been.
Pixiv.
It's not Pixiv.
No.
There have been several sites that way.
Yeah.
Being very anti NSFW.
Yeah, and that's a super concerning thing to
As
me.
of
Right, yeah, it's a super concerning thing to see, because I have considered, Gumroad and those other websites as ventures. I have a Patreon that I update occasionally. It maybe nets me like 150 a month. It's not huge. It's just a little bit of supplemental income and something I can give the few people who sub to it. A little bit of extra incentive to have had done so. But to see people get booted off their platform of choice or have their financial incentive taken away from them without a moment's notice, without warning, it's scary. It's one of the biggest demerits, in my opinion, of being an adult creator, an 18 plus artist, is to see how brittle of a foundation we walk upon in our daily venture. How at any moment it could just crack from beneath you and plunge you into the river below. And it's a stress. It may be not as much of a stress for me because, again, I don't monetize my work a lot currently. That may come to change actually pretty soon. I'm looking to do a merchandising deal with a company I just signed with. But yeah, stuff in the works, right? But other than that, it's mainly just I see it and it's alarming, and I wish it weren't. I guess would be the best way I would say it.
All right, that's fair enough. Fib, around here we like to do something called last call, which is essentially everyone's last thoughts for the episode. So do you have any last thoughts before I ask you to plug everything and everywhere you are?
Yeah, I think we had a good talk. I apologize if I wasn't quite as eloquent as I could have been. I should have fucking prepped some cue cards or something.
No, never apologize for that. We'd like you to be more.
We like off the cuff.
No, that is not the word I'm looking. What is the word?
Improv or
authentic, not authentic.
Authentic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Authentic.
Okay.
Words are hard. I will wake up at 1 after the work today. Shit.
Oh shit. Well.
Yeah, we like people to be real.
Thank you. I'm happy to have been on.
Do not any last call, last thoughts.
I'm tired. I want a coffee. Dad's tired. I wish that AI talk had gone on a little bit longer so I could figure out how to make that the bonus episode to do less work. But now we have to do more work, so it's fine.
Oh,
we can definitely have Fib on for extra
I am
bits.
not waking up at 7:30 in the morning again.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Well,
like, I'd be happy to come on.
Fib
in
and
the
I can
future.
have a one-on-one call, maybe.
Yeah, like I'd be happy to come on in the future. Like that. I mean, this has been a good talk. I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Not soon.
All right. So Fib, would you like to plug where all these wonderful listeners and folks can find you?
Yeah. So, find me on Twitter.com because I guess I'm aware it's X, but I call it Twitter still. Twitter.com/fib_art, or I'm on Newground. Fibilis.newgrounds.com, or Pixiv. You can find me there, or Blue Sky. That's also a place too. I don't know. There's just a lot of places. Mainly Twitter, and Newgrounds. Find me those places. Follow me. Follow me if you look at my stuff and like it. If you don't, that's okay. Just don't scream. And that's about it.
All right, wonderful. And as for us listeners, if you can't already figure out where to find us, you can find us at Spotify, YouTube Music. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Pandora, which I always forget exists.
Bro, listen. Hold up, wait, like pause. Like someone has been like cranking out the Pandora episodes because it went from like 3% to 40, and I'm like, huh?
Oh shit.
What?
Interesting. Well, thank you, whoever that is out there on Pandora. You are our favorite listener.
Thank you.
Like, comment, subscribe. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
5 stars on YouTube too. If you're in 2006. Yeah.
I'm old.
Well, if you are a time traveler and from 2006, you're wonderful.
Yeah.
I wish you could do more with your powers, but if you're time traveling and listening to us, thank you.
Invest in Bitcoin also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ethereum.
Yeah.
You can also, aside from all of their stock tips, find us on Twitter at Lusty Lounge, Facebook at Lusty Lounge, or even join our Discord, the Lusty Lounge, where you'll find several folks who are interesting, to say the least. And if you like us enough to give us a few bucks, you can find us on our coffee at the Lusty Lounge.
Proud of you.
A few bucks is always helpful, but even just to listen here is wonderful. Thank you all. And don't let this door slam. It's heavy, and we don't need to replace it again. Did I forget anything, Zuna?
Awesome.
All right.
Fantastic.
Say bye, Fib.
Goodbye.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.